I do my best to explain that there are a lot of entrepreneurs out there offering far superior products or services than are offered by the mega-rich multinational corporations, just as there are billions of people who can make a better burger than McDonald's. But only McDonald's has created the system that has served billions of burgers. See the other side. If people can begin to see this truth, I then suggest they go to McDonald's, buy a burger, and sit and look at the system that delivered that burger. Take note of the trucks that delivered the raw burger, the rancher that raised the beef, the buyer who bought the beef, and the TV ads that helped sell the beef. Notice the training of young, inexperienced people to say the same words, "Hello, welcome to McDonald's," as well as the decor of the franchise, the regional offices, the bakeries that bake the buns, and the millions of pounds of French fries that taste exactly the same all over the world. Then include the stockbrokers raising money for McDonald's on Wall Street. If they can begin to understand the whole picture, then they have a chance at moving to the BI side. The reality is that there are unlimited new ideas, billions of people with services or products to offer, millions of products, and only a few people who know how to build excellent business systems. Bill Gates didn't build a great product. He bought somebody else's product and built a powerful global system around it. Your two biggest expenses. Because my dad couldn't read financial statements, he failed to see the money trap he was getting sucked into as he grew more successful. It's the same money trap I see millions of other successful, hardworking people fall into. The reason so many people struggle financially is because every time they make more money, they also increase their two biggest expenses, taxes and interest on debt. To top it all off, the government often offers you tax breaks to get you deeper into debt. Doesn't that make you a little suspicious? At the end of my hard-working, educated dad's life, the little money he did have left to pass on was taken by the government in probate taxes. The worst advice to give your children. If you were born prior to 1930, then go to school, get good grades, and find a safe, secure job was good advice. But for most of you, it's bad advice. Why? The answer is found in taxes and debt. For people who earn their income from the E quadrant, there are virtually no tax breaks left. Today in America, being an employee means you are a 50-50 partner with the government. That means the government ultimately will take 50% or more of an employee's earnings, and much of that before the employee even sees the paycheck. When you consider that the government offers you tax breaks for going further into debt, the path to financial freedom is virtually impossible for most people in the E and S quadrants. I often hear accountants tell clients who begin earning more income from the E quadrant to buy a bigger house so they can receive a bigger tax break. While that may make sense to someone on the left side of the cash flow quadrant, it makes no sense to someone on the right side. Who pays the most taxes? The rich do not pay a lot in income taxes. Why? Simply because they don't earn their money as employees. The ultra-rich know that the best way to avoid taxes legally is by generating income out of the B and I quadrants. If people earn money in the E quadrant, the only tax break they're offered is to buy a bigger house and go into greater debt. Viewed from the right side of the cash flow quadrant, that isn't financially intelligent. To people on the right side, that's like saying, "Give me $1 and I will give you 50 cents back." Taxes are unfair. I often hear people say, it's un-American not to pay taxes. Americans who say this seem to have forgotten their history. America was founded out of tax protest. Have they forgotten the famous Boston Tea Party of 1773? This rebellion sparked the Revolutionary War and was all about taxation. Taxation without representation. This rebellion was followed by Shays' Rebellion, the Whiskey Rebellion, Freeze's Rebellion, the Tariff Wars, and many others throughout the history of the United States. There are two other famous tax revolts that weren't staged by Americans, but do demonstrate the passion with which people object to taxation. The story of William Tell is a story of tax protest. That's why he was forced to shoot the apple off his son's head. He was angry about taxes and refused to bow to the tax collector. His punishment was to put his son's life at risk with a target on his head. And then there was Lady Godiva. She pleaded with her husband, the Earl of Mercia, to lower taxes in her town. Her husband said he would lower the taxes if she would ride naked through the town. She took him up on his offer. Today, I still hear people say, "I'm going back to school so I can get a raise," or "I'm working hard so I can get a promotion." Those are words or ideas of a person who is focusing on the income column of the financial statement, or the E quadrant. Those are the words of a person who will give half of that raise to the government and work harder and longer to do it. Just as we study at school to learn a job, I suggest you study to become a professional investor. The reporter who was upset about my making $1 million in my asset column and not paying taxes never asked me the question, "How did you make the $1 million?" To me, that's the real question. Legally avoiding the taxes is easy. Making the million wasn't so easy. A second path to financial security could be looping between the E and B quadrants. And financial security for an S loops between the S and I quadrants. The average American millionaire is self-employed, lives frugally, and invests for the long term. The pattern above reflects that financial life path. This path, the S to the B, is often the path that many great entrepreneurs like Bill Gates take. It's not the easiest, but in my mind, it is one of the best. The path I recommend. I am often asked by people in the E and S quadrants, "What would you recommend?" I recommend the same path my rich dad recommended to me, the same path that people like Ross Perot and Bill Gates took, the path from the S quadrant to the B quadrant. Occasionally, people reply, "But I'd rather be an investor." To which I say, then go to the I quadrant. If you have plenty of money and lots of free time, go straight to the I quadrant. But if you don't have an abundance of time and money, the path my rich dad recommended is safer. I's invest in B's. In most cases, people do not have an abundance of time and money, so they then ask another question. Why do you recommend the B quadrant first? This discussion usually takes an hour or so, but I'll just summarize my reasons in the next few lines. 1. Experience and education. If you are first successful as a B, you'll have a better chance of developing into a powerful I. If you first develop a solid business sense, you can become a better investor. You'll be better able to identify other good Bs. True investors invest in successful Bs with stable business systems. It's risky to invest in an E or an S who doesn't know the difference between a system and a product, or who lacks excellent leadership skills. 2. Cash flow. If you have a business that is up and running, then you should have the free time and the cash flow to support the ups and downs of the I quadrant. Many times I meet people from the E and S quadrants who are so tight on cash that they can't afford to take any kind of financial loss. One market swing and they're wiped out because they operate financially at the red line. The reality is that investing is capital and knowledge intensive. Sometimes it takes lots of capital and requires a lot of time to gain the necessary knowledge. Many successful investors have lost many times before winning. Successful people know that success is a poor teacher. Learning comes from making mistakes, And in the I quadrant, mistakes cost money. If you lack both knowledge and capital, it's financial suicide to try to become an investor. By developing the skill of becoming a good B first, you'll also be providing the cash flow necessary to help you become a good investor. The business you develop as a B will provide the cash to support you as you gain the education to become a good investor. Once you have gained the knowledge to become a successful investor, you'll understand how I can say, it does not always take money to make money.